Hi, my name is Abby Kimbrough, and this summer I had an internship at a PR firm called Paul Allen and Associates here in Dublin for about 2 months. I learned many things over the course of this summer and at my internship, one of which was I developed my career and personal goals. Career and self development really involves the continuous growth and learning and enhancing your skills that you have and learning new skills and new knowledge for professional development and personal as well. Before this internship, I didn't have a ton of experience in the business world. I work at a restaurant back home, and so I hadn't really had this first internship business experience. And so I think that was really important for me this summer to kind of get a real world understanding of a business and just some experience hands on. More specifically to my internship and in the PR field, I personally am a marketing major, so it kind of correlates a lot with PR, but I hadn't really had a lot of firsthand experience with PR itself or public relations, and honestly didn't really know a lot about it except for kind of that surface level, crisis management and things like that. So, really learning more about this career gave me a new experience and a new career path that I'm now kind of interested in. That's kind of more on the career development part. I would also say the self development part of that kind of came into more of the skills that I honed while working in this environment, including communication was very big, as well as professionalism and flexibility, and just the skills you learn in a workplace that I'll go into more. I learned communication and the skill of communication was very, very important in my role this summer and feel like something that I felt confident in before, but I feel like I got better at. Communication at its core is just conveying ideas, information back and forth, and creating an understanding between two parties. This can both be external and internal. I worked both with external and internal over the course of my internship, internal being with my coworkers and people I worked with, my boss, supervisors, things like that, and then externals being with clients or suppliers when we had to plan different events or even just day-to-day email communication. It's all different forms of communication. When talking more about external communication, I had several projects that were very heavy on external communication as we did a lot of kind of event planning or coordinating for clients. So, one of those being a protest that we planned. So, we had to communicate externally, and I did a lot of this with different suppliers, including a photographer as well as a PA system operator. A like print designer and different things like that. And so that involved emails, phone calls, and then also going out and speaking in person on the day of the event. So this was all outside of the company and talking to people that were sometimes you had never met before or anything like that. So this was all external. And I feel like I hadn't really done a ton of that in the past, just having to call somebody up out of the blue or email someone and just introduce yourself and be like, I need this. Can you get this for me? Type of situation. So I feel like that kind of put me outside my comfort zone, but was something I actually enjoyed doing in the end. When talking more about internal communication, it is a very small company and we kind of all shared like one desk area. And so I would say internal communication was a lot of just face to face conversations and over supervisors and coworkers. It is a very small company. So I would say a lot of thing is cumulative and goes day to day and collaborative as well, to where you're working on one project and you're going to ask advice or communicate and have to communicate, I'm done with this or I need help on this, and different things like that, either with supervisor or coworkers. Because it was such a small company, if my supervisor wasn't there one day or something, we then had to move to different forms of communication just because it is such a small company that you did need to kind of have that constant communication because day-to-day tasks change so much. And so that communication was more via WhatsApp or giving a phone call and being willing to reach out and update on the day. Communication and the skill of communication was very, very important. Critical thinking was very important this summer in my internship, and I feel like I learned a lot and had to think on my feet a lot because, like I said previously, it was such a small company. I often was given roles to do entirely on my own that I might not have been fully educated on or know fully what to do, and so kind of had to think for myself and really take an active role in the company. Critical thinking, inclusion and equality really focuses on creating and fostering an environment where diversity is accepted and even encouraged. I think this can really involve you want to be working with people who are diverse than you and have different ideas. I would say this was really implemented in my workplace because we spoke to a lot of different clients, a lot of different people that were very, very varied and from very different backgrounds. And so you always had to have an open mind and know that maybe you were talking to someone who didn't come from the same background. I think this was even more important because I'm in Ireland, I'm from America, and so I had to be like willing to learn new cultural things that maybe I'm not familiar with, but they can educate me and I can tell them about my culture as well. Technology in this day and age is huge. We did everything on the computer or on the phone or using some sort of technology. There was a lot of projects I had that involved Excel spreadsheets, creating spreadsheets of different correspondence with clients, as well as sending out timetables, invoices, different things like that to clients, as well as having Zoom meetings or communicating via WhatsApp or different technology online. So this played a huge part in real day-to-day business. Inclusion, I think of leadership as kind of inspiring and guiding others that you work with towards a common goal. This can be just a coworker or even a subordinate. I had a lot of coworker interaction that you occasionally could take a leadership role, but I also had a role where I had to train a temporary worker. She just worked there 2 weeks, but I only worked there 2 months. So I didn't really have a ton of knowledge. I felt like I had to step up and still train her, give her an overview of the company with specific tasks, as well as just training her on different skills she would need to know day to day and give her feedback when maybe that's not something I'd necessarily been done before. But I really thought this was a very cool opportunity and experience that I felt like I learned a lot. I think of leadership as kind of inspiring. Professionalism to me really involves just acting like you're at work when you're at work and kind of maintaining those high standards of behavior that you would want another business to do for you if you were, say, their client. I thought this was really important when speaking with clients on the phone and also in email, kind of using that professional tone that I feel like really had to come and play day to day, which this was kind of a new role for me because this was almost kind of my first professional role that I've worked in. And so this was really something interesting to kind of observe my coworkers do and kind of implement myself. Teamwork was huge in my company. And I feel like I mentioned this earlier in the presentation, but it is just such a small company that every task was a group task almost. You were asking advice, it was collaborative, you were always getting input from others, or you would pass your work off to somebody, you would do part of it, you would move to another task. I thought this was a really interesting work environment that I was kind of new to me in a professional setting. I feel like when I've worked on teamwork, it's been on like a group project where we're just doing one thing, but this it's kind of like you work simultaneously with each other. Teamwork is really, to me, really important in a workplace and utilizing other people's diverse skills. And I feel like this was something I really got to work on in my internship. Professionals, thank you for listening, and thank you for the opportunity to tell you a little bit more about my internship and kind of what I've learned this summer at the PR firm. Thank you. Thank you.